Hi, I'm Carissa Karamanis O'Brien, coming to you from the National EMS Culture of Safety Strategy Conference in Arlington, Virginia. I'm here with Andrew Rozak from the HHS Health Resources and Services Administration. Welcome, Andy.
Hi, how you doing?
Very good, thank you. So tell me, we know that HRSA helped to fund this project and this meeting, and obviously it's a priority to them. What does culture of safety and really fostering that mean to HRSA?
Well, it's a great opportunity, and we're very delighted to be co-founders of, or co-funders rather, of this conference. HRSA has a broad stake in EMS, from the rural areas to the territories to the tribal areas, and of course the urban and underserved areas. So we do a lot of work. HRSA supports 57 poison control centers throughout the country, and of course there's a safety aspect, inherent in all the poison control activities that we do. There's a huge safety and culture of safety aspect in all the rural providers that we service through our Medicare and Medicaid flexibility programs. The Rural Access to Emergency Devices program, which has put thousands of AEDs out on the streets. It's all about community safety. And I think this conference is a great opportunity to bring some of the great thought leaders together and really talk about EMS as a profession and talk about how we can advance the safety ball and safety from a provider and from a patient standpoint, which unfortunately, this dialogue, we don't have that often. So to have a special two-day event where we can really dive deep into these issues is it's very special and is long overdue.
How critical do you think it is to bring the various agencies and providers together to really collaborate towards this effort? I mean, as you said, it's rare to really focus on both the patient and provider perspective at the same time. How important is it to have these folks in the same room to really talking about these issues?
Well, the nice thing about this conference is we do have, our colleagues from the Department of Transportation co-funded this with HRSA. So we do have that whole safety and transportation aspect. So one of the aspects of the culture of safety is not only looking at the patient, but looking at the provider. And there's been a lot of work done recently in, air medical transport, helicopter transport, and then also vehicle design. A lot of people don't realize that really the backs of those ambulances aren't regulated. And it's very rare to find something that actually has a good seatbelt or a restraint system for the providers and for the patients. So to have the transportation expertise in the room, the vehicle design, the flight safety, and then, of course, HHS with the patient safety, it's really a great marriage, and it's really a full spectrum way of talking about safety. And it's a lot more than just going out and making sure you don't get stuck with a needle. There's all sorts of great avenues that we're talking about that otherwise don't get mentioned. So I think it's very robust, and the list of speakers and the participants here really have made this a very rounded discussion.
Do you think that there's a role as well for industry as far as contributing to these conversations and helping with the next steps that might come out of some of them?
Oh, absolutely. We definitely can't do anything without our trade groups and our industry groups and, of course, the boots on the ground. As you know, the federal government really doesn't have a very big regulatory role in EMS. It's really a state-level issue. So a lot of these changes are state-level changes, but also, just the whole culture itself, and hoping that the groundswell will be such that peer pressure is applied and we start talking about safety from, the boots on the ground on up to the administration. And there's some great examples of that. Emergency medical dispatch, towns that are not going lights and sirens to every emergency, towns and cities and providers that are not going lights and sirens from the scene to hospitals. It's all these small little incremental changes that we have to make to assure that not only are we being safe, but we're protecting the public at large. So it's a very unique opportunity, and I'm very happy that so many of our trade organizations and industry stakeholders are here in the conference today.
Very good. So as far as taking some of these discussions out of the room that they're taking place today and really applying them in the field, what are some of the key steps you think you hope will come out of this in the days and weeks to come?
Well, it's a real challenge, especially, from the provider standpoint. We do have a lot of people who are, just because of the very nature, and if you look at the rural, the volunteer agencies, you're not always sure who you're going to get partnered up with. 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, it might just be you and your neighbor who shows up for the call. So I think there's a lot of work to be done on, kind of getting those synergies around who you're partnering with, figuring out what the best practices are, and really moving from what's been tradition, and that's kind of been our guiding focus. We've always done it this way, blah, 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 to well, we're doing it this way because the evidence supports it this way. It's going to be a huge culture shift, as we've seen in the fire service and law enforcement, and of course EMS is kind of playing at the intersection of public safety and public health and first responders and all that stuff. We're influenced by that as well. So I think there's great opportunity to move it out of the traditional role and put it into more into the evidence-based best practice model, and see, why are we carrying this drug on the drug box? Why are we doing this intervention in the back of the ambulance? Is it more appropriate to get on the road and start transport versus monkeying around in a house for 30 minutes, trying to get this IV or whatnot. So there's a lot of great ideas being generated, and hopefully some of this will translate into some actual implementation and get the boots on the ground being more safe out there in the streets.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for HRSA's role in supporting it. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
And again, this is Carissa Karamanis O'Brien coming to you from the National EMS Culture of Safety Strategy Conference in Arlington, Virginia.